Hi, Kelby.
Good afternoon, Bart.
Good to see you. Welcome back. This warm weather, it's like a harbinger of construction season getting underway, maybe?
Absolutely, that first step of thawing out that snow in the ground, any frost in the ground, those are usually things that we really need to happen before we can really put away the plows and start working on excavation and work underground and on the roads.
But you've been working all winter on some projects, including bridges in Jackson.
Yeah, so we got a really kind of complex bridge right here in downtown Jackson on Cooper Street. There's kind of a picture with the county building, the consumers building there, the bridge that we're talking about, and the Grand River right there. That's the bridge on Cooper Street, just south of the train station that we're working on.
So the bridge we see is not the bridge, that's just the pedestrian bridge. This is the bridge.
That's the bridge that we are going to be tearing out.
So what's wrong with that?
Just age. You can see kind of on the right there where there's some areas where actually we've got the footings are exposed. The actual bottom of the bridge that is the basis for the foundation for the whole structure. There's kind of water that gets in there when we have high water flows in the spring, and it kind of rushes away and erodes the area around those footings. And so that's the real reason that we need to take care of that bridge and replace it. It's close to, I think, 100 years old.
So it looks like there's some remnants of the old concrete cap.
There is.
Are those gonna?
Yeah, so we actually are going to take that out of the portion of underneath our bridge. That's, you can see down the middle, they actually put what we call a box culvert. It's shaped like a box, and that's what the river was contained in downtown. And it was removed outside of the bridges, but because it's just so hard to work underneath those bridges to remove stuff like that, so outside of the bridge that was removed, but under the bridge they just kind of left it, took off the top, and then when the water flows high in the spring it kind of spills over the top, and that's kind of where we get some of that erosion and kind of localized flooding under there, and the new bridge is going to alleviate all that.
Takes a long time to replace a bridge.
It does. Especially this one, we actually had a large gas main that ran through the bridge itself, and we actually had a large water main that ran through the bridge itself. So these first, we started in January, late January, and we've been working now, and probably till about April 1st, all we're going to be doing is water main. We can't even start on that bridge until that water main is moved off of the old bridge.
Where are you going to put it?
We're going to put it on a temporary bridge over the river, just to the west of the existing bridge.
So then will it go back in the bridge?
It will.
There's really not a lot of options.
We've got bedrock that's so shallow under that bridge, we couldn't put the water main under the river and under the bridge without spending a huge amount of money.
Yeah.
And so the most cost-effective option was to temporarily move the water main out of the way, tear out the old bridge, rebuild the new bridge, and then put the water main back before we pour the concrete road surface back on.
It's probably why it's there in the first place.
Right. They were smart when they built these things originally.
Yeah. So this is the bird's eye view looking north.
Correct. Yep. Just kind of that whole work area that starts that road right at the bottom of the screen there. That's Washington. And so you're looking north on Cooper, and in the background you can see the train station, and on the left is the Consumers Energy parking structure. They're doing water main right now there. They're removing the existing pavement. They've got some backfill in there that we put back in the ground to make sure we compact everything properly on the road there. So just kind of another picture further back to kind of give you the general area. You can see traffic turning left following our detour because they can't go north on Cooper. They're directed to head west on Washington till they hit Louis Glick and then kind of come back. Although I know there are some folks who kind of use other routes through the city there if they're going to local destinations.
Yeah, and you may be wondering as you look at that, go back to that one more time, the parking structure. You may look at that and think, oh, well, there aren't any cars in the structure because you can't get into the structure. Wrong. You can get into the structure from Washington, in and out, easy access, but the workers are not back at Consumers Energy based on the emptiness of that deck. It's amazing. It's hardly anyone's in it, ever.
Yeah, that's.
Maybe they're in the other deck, I don't know, but this one's pretty empty. But, and my grandson wanted to see all the cranes and trucks. I think he wants a job.
Does he?
He's 3.
He gets a little bit older. We'll come give him a tour.
He loves, oh my gosh, it's like, he goes nuts, trucks and trains. So we couldn't get to the train station because of your trucks, but that was just as well because we could see the trucks.
Yeah.
We're getting close to the tracks here. So this is an area that's actually between the bridge and the...
Yeah. So they have to work on both sides of the bridge right now to build that water main connection to the existing, to keep water flowing underground. And this is kind of one of our drone pictures. If you can see there, right in the middle is where the new water main is going, and they put in these metal devices that we call trench boxes, and they keep the workers safe. We put the water main in there because we're 6 to 10 feet deep, and you don't want that collapsing on the workers. So these metal containers, which are pretty large, are called trench boxes. So they put them in there, and then we place the water main, construct that down there, and then move them along to follow with the workers, and then they fill it back up and compact it and make sure that water main's buried so it doesn't freeze in the future.
Got it. All right, now the train station, is there anything being done like with the tracks or around the tracks?
No, I just thought this was a cool picture.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah, I thought it was a neat picture of the train station. You don't always get to see the view of that here in the air. You can kind of see our work zone there that kind of just goes south of the train station, and our barricades to help keep people out of there. But yeah, it's kind of in a very complex area with traffic control. So we've seen, we've been looking at some of the traffic signals on Michigan Avenue, on Louis Glick, to make sure that there aren't excessive backups at certain locations based on Cooper not being open in there. And so we've been out there and made some adjustments, but we're always kind of looking for local feedback, and we kind of go through there and see what might need to be tweaked.
Oh, well, here's my thought. If you're going east on Glick, before you get to the train tracks, like between the state office building and the tracks, it seems like there's just not enough space for the traffic going left in a normal situation when all the roads are open. It seems like it backs up, way up to Mechanic even.
Okay.
Yeah, so if you can do something about that, that'd be great.
We'll look at that.
I'd just stay out of the area. But that area does get awfully congested.
It is right there between Cooper and Mechanic and
it's
France,
tough.
MLK.
When they built the streets and then built the state office building and closed Michigan Ave, there was just, it's like, there's nothing you can do. It's just not.
Right. And we have the train tracks running through there that we don't, we make sure our signals don't back people up onto the train tracks if they follow the signals properly. Of course, people don't always follow the signals, and sometimes they end up trying to stack up, and then they get hung up on the tracks, which is not a good thing. But our signals are set up to make sure that people do not back up onto the tracks when they're waiting at a signal. So.
And if you think you're okay, Google car stuck on tracks.
Those aren't pretty.
No.
Those aren't pretty situations.
What about bridge number 2? Is that next year?
So that's next year. Okay. Although, if you're a frequent driver on that bridge, we did have a surface defect pop up on that bridge deck. So we actually have some cones and barrels protecting that. It's actually
I noticed that. Yeah.
It's actually in the center turn lane, and there's no driveways in that immediate area. So it's not really impacting traffic, but it's just showing you how fast that bridge is deteriorating. So we might be doing a little patch on it to kind of make sure it doesn't get worse, because right now we don't want to get into that repair, because it's a pretty major repair until next year once the Cooper Street Bridge is open, so that we can kind of not impact 2 very close routes in downtown. But
as Noah Baker, our sports director, would say, you don't want to spend a vet bill on a cat you're not going to keep.
That's right. So we've got a bridge deck that's falling apart, and we want to wait till next year to fix it properly. But we're going to have to patch it right now a little bit. But we don't want to spend a lot of money on it because we're just going to rip it up next year.
And then 94, you guys pretty much the main part of the project wrapped that up. Some landscaping and stuff.
Yeah, out here right in town on I-94, we've just got some areas where maybe the trees need to be replaced that have died, or some of the grass isn't growing. That's really all that's left on that project. Our project to the west of Jackson, we've got a little bit of paving going out there. I would expect that to be done within 30 days of when the weather really gets nice. So we don't even have a start date on that yet. So.
Now the trail that's supposed to go north, I understand is going to go under 94, like from Lions Park up to North Street and then extend. Will it follow like the utility?
Yeah, there's some consumers easements that run through there. So the Jackson County is kind of taking the lead on that piece of the trail, but they have been working with us to make sure there is a safe and adequate crossing under 94. And so we kind of knew about those plans when we designed that bridge about 5-6 years ago. So we kind of have an area for them to go safely under that bridge next to, because that bridge carries 94 over the Grand River and the Jackson and Lansing Railroad that also goes there. So it's a pretty long bridge. But we left some room for that pathway to go under I-94, and then it kind of winds through the consumers' properties, I believe, all the way up, and then gets along Lansing Ave and goes up to Parnell, is my understanding.
All right, I can't picture it, but I guess they're going to start on it this summer.
That's what I hear.
Great. Thanks for all the updates.
Yeah, good to see you.
Jackson TSC Manager for MDOT, Kelby Wallace.